Hey everyone, I'm here with BigManTingz from Radiance, who is, I'm going to say graciously coming in to talk with me today. And yeah, we just want to get to know you, and we see the name all the time up front, but now it's time to learn a little bit more about the guy behind the name. Not just the stats, not the numbers, not the god pool, but who you are and, a lot of your history. So first, I just want to know, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in England, UK. I live just outside of West London. Been living there all my life, pretty much, and yeah, that's where I'm from, basically.
So, what kind of things did you do while you were growing up? Were you always kind of a big gamer, or did you have other things that you were doing while you were a kid?
I've always been a big gamer. I played sports quite a lot growing up. Don't play them as much now. But I played a lot of football or soccer for the Americans out there. I played a lot of table tennis growing up as well. I played at a local club, cricket. Just tried to keep myself active as much as possible, but at heart, I was always a gamer. Gamer was first and sports was second, but I tried to do both as much as possible.
You said you played a lot of table tennis. I just want to know, when we got that, I guess we haven't had a lot of time with it in the office, so I don't know if you guys have even gotten to really play on it, but is that something that maybe excites you for when we finally get to go back?
No, it is. I'm not as good as I used to be. I played at PK's house last year. That team, they had their own table tennis table, so went there around a lot and played a lot. I'm definitely not as good as I used to be, but I still enjoy playing it.
I'm still sure you could thrash me, so don't worry too much about it. I have no idea what I'm doing when do it. So, yeah, you're growing up, you're outside of West London. What was your family doing? While you were growing up, do you have brothers, sisters? What exactly have they all done?
I've got one brother. He's actually a lot younger than I am. So. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just been chilling, really. I haven't been doing too much. I mean, just my family been working, and my brother is, I think he's 8 now, so he's getting into games like I am. He watches my games online, and he's always a big fan of games growing up. So, yeah, just.
So you're living pretty far away now, I think is easy to say. And
sure.
I specifically with a brother that young, do you ever feel maybe a little disconnected from your family, or do you guys still talk pretty regularly?
I try to call them regularly, at least once or once every 1 or 2 weeks, ideally. It kind of sucks being away from home a lot. I do miss my family and just miss the comfort of my own home and my own surroundings. But at the same time, I'm always wanting to explore and try different things, and I moved out here last year. I moved out here again, and I enjoy it here. I enjoy the lifestyle. Being a gamer is my dream job, so I do enjoy it, although sometimes I do definitely miss my family a lot.
So, it's always awkward to kind of have that conversation to say, hey, I'm going to go play video games for a living, because especially depending on who you talk to, they're going to be really confused about how that works and what it all entails. So what was that like with your family? You said, now you're living far away and you kind of miss it. Was it an easy conversation to have with them, or did it take some time?
They were pretty accepting of it, I think, at the start. They were a bit worried, especially because I just finished the equivalent to college. I finished college. I had the choice when I first joined SPL. I just finished college, and just before I signed up to university, I was going to go into games development or a games designer. So I was sticking to my roots anyway. But I had the choice between joining Fnatic and trying to make it pro, trying to be full time, or going to university. So my family were like, yo, this is a bit sketchy. That they're worried about the money, the income, my future and stuff. So I just had to reassure them. I joined Fnatic, and before the uni deadlines were really happening, the paycheck started coming through, and they started seeing the games online and stuff, and they became a lot more trusting and supportive, I guess. So that's just kind of how it started, really.
Did that help when it came to having, move countries? At this point, living somewhere completely different, was that a more difficult conversation to have, saying, guys, I'm going to fly across the Atlantic to play these games now?
Yeah, definitely was another tough conversation to have. I've obviously been living with my family, or even after college, I was still living with my parents. So it was definitely a tough conversation to have, but I sold them. I was to be safe, etc. Just things that your mum and everyone
Yeah.
wants to hear. So I just wanted the challenge of the experience, like living out away from my family, just doing things by myself. Having to cook, clean, etc. all by myself, and that. So I was excited for the challenge, and I'm glad I did it.
Oh, now I'm gonna roll it back a little bit because that's the now, but I kind of want to know. You are now this big SMITEPro, but what was the first game you played? Like, what kind of really kicked this whole thing off?
The first game I played when I was younger, or like
Yeah,
really
like when you
recent?
were a kid and you started getting into gaming.
I played a lot of just randomly. I was into gaming really young, like a freak. 'Cause my
Hmm.
uncle was a big gamer. I remember playing like the early Frogger and old games like that on the old systems and
Hmm.
stuff. But I think I really started getting into it when I was playing on the PS3. I was playing a lot of Call of Duty 4 at the time, Modern Warfare,
Hmm.
I think it
Yeah,
was, and that's when I
good choice.
think. Yeah, that's good. One of the best ones actually. So yeah, that's when I really think I took my stride of being like wanting to compete at a high level. I remember I think I made when I think I was like 11 or only 12 something like that. I think I made it like top 1,000 on the leaderboards just casually, like it's like your score and your KD and stuff. But I remember
Hmm.
that ever since then I just knew I wanted to be a competitive player, and I've always had that drive within me with wanting to compete. So ever since then, really.
So, wanting to compete early on maybe isn't as surprising, but did you ever see yourself actually getting to the point where you're, like one of the best in the world at a game, or was that something that kind of came as a surprise to you?
Um, I think I've always had the like deep down. I've always have like thought I'd be really good or like be the best at something or be want to be the best at something, but when I started playing Smite, I didn't take it that seriously. Like my in-game name, I don't use this name for other things. I actually have a different in-game name, which I might switch to next year. We'll see. I've been trying to get rid of
We'll
this name
see.
for a while, but but I didn't plan to take Smite seriously. I just tried it out with some friends, and I don't know. I just kept on playing. I kept on enjoying it, and then eventually it got to the stage where you start competing, like Challenger Cup and SML, whatever.
Hmm.
And I grabbed onto like the itch of that competitiveness, and I just went with it, and I'm glad I did. So
And you had said that, Smite wasn't necessarily the one, like, you didn't start off thinking, all right, this is the game to grind. It just kind of grew on you. Were you trying to compete at a different game when you were playing this on the side? Like, was Smite your hobby to something else that was your competitive game?
not at the age when I started picking up Smite. I think when I
Hmm.
was younger, I competed pretty high level in FIFA and Call of Duty, but I didn't really know how to like enter the scene per se for those games. I
Yeah.
kind of just played it like the ranked modes, competing at the high levels
Hmm.
of the ranked modes, and like, sometimes you play against pros and you do well and stuff, but never really like knowing somebody or knowing a direct way into the scene. But with
Yeah.
Smite, I didn't know I was gonna end up playing. I just picked it up casually with a friend, and it's been a wild ride since then, really.
It's always insane to think about it because it's just one of those things, especially for a lot of our pros. It feels like you didn't accidentally get here, but you almost did. Like you wanted to grind
Yeah,
and get to the top, but you kind of slipped your way at least into the scene to begin with. But you've been playing for a little while now, and you've been on a couple of
yeah.
different teams with different teammates. And I'm kind of wondering now you're living around with everybody. Right now, maybe is a different time for you, but in general, you guys get to hang out, spend some time together. Has that been a different experience from being in the past playing online? Like, how important has it been just being there with the team?
It's honestly great. I think I've been seeing a lot of gamers when they're young. They always dream about having a gaming house, playing and living with like-minded people, and being able
Hmm.
to live that dream, I guess, for like the past 2 years. It's been great. Like having like-minded people around you who you can call your colleagues, your friends, and they all have the same interests. It's honestly been great, and I enjoy every second of it, really.
So, you guys, you're close to each other. You're going to be able to play a lot. Do you end up doing a lot of things together outside of playing Smite? Like, are you going out and just hanging out in general together?
Not so much this year due to
Yeah,
the
I guess right
COVID
now it's a little more awkward to try
and all that. No, but before before it kind of got bad, yeah, we did do stuff. We went out for meals. We visited other teams, visited SSG. We played football, stuff like that. But like last year, when that wasn't COVID, thankfully, yeah, we did a bunch of stuff. Really, went to the cinema, went to like bowling, just chilling out. Like go out to a bar, maybe just go chill out, go get some nice food. Yeah, it's just been a great experience. Really, wish it could be like that again this year, but yeah, unfortunately not.
Do you think that was really important for playing like in game for your professional games and like scrims and stuff, being a team, spending all that time together outside of the game?
Oh, for sure, for sure. I think having a close relationship with your team, with the activities you do, and how you talk to them, and how you just live together, I think it was really good. And I think a lot of teams benefit off that. I feel like the teams that are closer, you know, it doesn't really matter like to see how good the players are or whatever, but if they're closer, then they'll have an advantage over teams that aren't closer in terms of like synergy and just them getting along, being able to resolve arguments easier and stuff. So yeah.
It always helps to be friends with your team, right? It makes everything a little bit easier overall. So it's been good for them, and again, good for you. So far, Radiance has been doing pretty well this year. You are one of the top mids that has been playing in the SPL. I just kind of want to know, in game, we only ever get to see the numbers and your performance, but out of game, does the pressure ever feel like it's on you to perform? Like, do you ever come in maybe a little nervous, like if I don't do well, maybe think like the entire game falls apart?
I think when I was a lot more inexperienced in the past, I thought like that sometimes, and I think sometimes it can get to you, like not in the forefront of your mind, but in the back of your mind, where people have these expectations and they're relying on you, not necessarily just like the fans and the casters and everyone else involved, but like also your teammates. They're also relying on you at the end of the day. So I do feel like sometimes it does that, but you got to do the best to put it on the back of your mind, put it on the back burner, and just focus on there in the moment and playing your best.
And you had mentioned like being in the public eye. We see you guys play all the time, and we'll talk about it. But chat always mentions you. It's kind of weird because you don't maybe get the same crowd feeling that you would in an arena or if we were at Worlds. But there's all these people watching, and they're going to have conversations about you. Does that ever end up like kind of getting in your head, knowing like if you make a mistake, or like, man, I just fat fingered my beads. Someone in chat's going to be spamming that for the next 5 minutes. It's going to hold with me for 3 weeks.
Not necessarily. I try to keep it as professional as possible. When it's an SPL game, scrims can be a bit different because it's a bit more of a chill environment and a learning environment. But when it's a professional game, just try and be as professional as possible. Keep the attitudes the best as possible it can be. Always try and stay positive and just try and keep going. So that kind of stuff doesn't really get to me when in game. Out of game, you can look back at it and just see like, I fat fingered beads here. They're going to talk about it now out of game. But when you're in game, I think it's best to just focus on the game and just keep going. Really,
just keep moving on and don't let anything get you down. That's been one of the hallmarks of the successful teams in the past. So I'm glad to hear you have that mentality as well. And you had mentioned, you'd started playing Smite. It was just kind of for fun for a little while, and then eventually it started being wait, now I'm a team, now we're playing around, now all of a sudden I'm in the Pro League. Like, you just kind of escalated incredibly fast. But when did you first realize that you were good at Smite? Like, that you were someone who could actually be competitive in the game?
I think I was playing the Challenger Cup, which is like the SML equivalent, as a support a while ago. And I just remember, I was just playing ranked and just playing my Challenge Cup games and stuff. And I just remember, like, a lot of, like, pros who I watched and I respected a lot. They just said, like, oh, I was doing good and doing well and stuff. And I was like, oh, maybe I am doing good. Maybe I am not too bad at the game after all. So I think it was, like, pretty early on, like, pre-Fnatic maybe, when I started getting a lot of people saying, oh, this guy's good, and started playing in-house and stuff with other pros, and it just slowly escalated from there, really.
And, you had just mentioned, and I think I remember this because I believe I was casting the Challenger circuit way back when as like a little side thing. You were a support player for the longest time, so how did you end up going over to mid? Like, what got you here?
I didn't mean to. So maining support is kind of a weird story. I just queued ranked. I wasn't really a support main originally. I played a lot of like carry roles at jungle ADC, mid mainly. But just nobody, you queue rank, nobody plays support to a good
Yeah.
level, I feel like. So I just got annoyed. I was like, if you guys can't do it, I'm going to try and do it. So that's how I got into support. And then I just kind of stuck with it over the
Yeah.
years. And I kind of got stuck in that position, even though I didn't want to. But it wasn't really like my focus. I'm not really a supportive player, I guess. Deep down, a lot of people, even when I was support, they wanted to see me leave the role and get into a carry role. It took a year longer than I thought I would have left support, but I'm glad I did in the end.
So yeah, mid was kind of your home. Then you got taken away from that to play support for all that time. And now you're
Yeah.
finally back where you'd like to be.
Yeah, kind of like that.
So if you had to choose another role, like if let's say for some reason you couldn't do mid again, you could take support off the table if you don't want to go play it. Where would you rather go, or where would you like to go if you had a chance at playing something other than mid?
It's weird. I had a very small period in both those roles. I played jungle for like a month or two for a Challenge Cup team, and I tried out ADC for an SPL team once. So I've had small experiences in both those roles, and I think I like the idea of jungle where you're a carry player, but you're also a dictator of the game, where a lot of the plays you make kind of dictate the outcome of the game, and you have a lot more control. So I'd probably say jungle if I was to play a different role.
I think lucky for you, and at least in the current meta, you still get to spend a good amount of time there in mid anyway, so you don't have to leave too far from where you're comfortable as of right now. But you've been playing, like we said, for a long time. There's 100+ gods in the game right now. Who's your favorite? Like, is there someone that you love to play that maybe isn't always competitive, or do you have like a favorite that you just always get to play anyway?
My favorite god's probably Discordia. I think it's a well-known fact that I like Disco. I play her even when she wasn't necessarily the best in terms of like the buffs and stuff. But Merlin and Disco are probably my favorite gods. And then a god that isn't so meta, which I really enjoy playing, was Chang'e. I was actually a Chang'e main way back in the day. When I was a support player, I used to just play Chang'e like mid and everywhere really, solo. But yeah, probably Chang'e if it wasn't a meta pick.
Chang'e is one of the ones I wish we could see more of. So maybe,
sure.
Fingers crossed, she'll either come into the meta or Radiance will just let you pick her up for some reason sometime soon. Anyway, we'll have to see.
Might have to do some convincing. We'll see.
Maybe when you guys go, completely undefeated at some point, and it's maybe not a high-stakes game, you'll be able to. But there's a lot of things in the game, gods as well as items. Is there anything maybe that you think is either overrated, everyone's picking it up, and you're like, man, why are you guys doing that? Or something that's just incredibly underrated and you wish you would see more of?
I'm not sure. I think Rod's starting to see a lot more limelight. I think it was underrated for a while.
It disappeared, yeah.
It disappeared for a while, yeah, but the stats on that item, 160 power with the passive is insane. On certain gods, I would say it's pretty much core. So I'm glad people are starting to pick up on that. And overrated, I'm not sure. For mage items, I'd say Magus is slightly overrated, especially since the nerfs. It was really good before the nerfs, but I'd say now it's slightly overrated, where it's not as core as it once was when it first got introduced or reworked. Sorry.
Well, you've played tons of Smite. A lot of games, some incredibly important, some that, maybe have just completely washed over you. What is one of the most memorable games that you've played that maybe stands out in your memory the most?
I got two, I guess. I got last year Worlds on a United. Although it wasn't a great year for United, it was my first Worlds, and after winning game one, I was like super pumped. I was like, oh, man, maybe we can actually make it. Even after like a rough year, rough scrims, etc. I was like, winning game one in the way we did, I think it was really good. But yeah, that set was something different for me. I'd never played in front of a crowd that big before, so feeling like the energy and the atmosphere, and just like knowing that thousands around the world are watching you. There's thousands in the crowd, your family back home. It was definitely a good experience for me. But I feel like the most important, or like maybe almost career defining set for me, was on Mouse when we were almost qualified for Worlds. I think it was against SK or Trifecta at the time. I think like that set was really unfortunate for us. We were so close to qualifying for Worlds, and I think that team had a lot of potential. Kind of unfortunate it didn't come to the light though.
So it's one really kind of bright, surreal moment you get to be on the stage, and then unfortunately the other one sticks with you because it was the moment where you're like, we could have gone further. Unfortunately, did not. But I mean, maybe this year Radiance gets to make some other memories for you going forward. We'll have to see.
Hopefully.
So, and I recognize that this question might be a little awkward considering you live with one of your teammates and they might have more influence over you. So, I guess blink twice for help afterwards. But who's your favorite player that you've teamed with in the past, whether it's current or someone, maybe even on one of your first teams? It's a hard question.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's a hard question. Favorite player overall? I'd probably... It have to be just like the mouse guys, really, like any one of them, really. Of the core mouse guys, like Dardes, Nika, Cherry. I'm great friends with them, so I had really good time playing with them, in and outside of the game. So yeah, any one of those three, I guess. So toss up.
So yeah, what is it that puts them up there? Was it just like the time you spent together, you're great friends already, or was there like anything that you had like memory-wise with them that just makes it special?
I think they're just great friends. I've known them for a while. We've been speaking for ages, but I think they're also just really great players individually, and they always bring. I think each one of them brings something unique to the table, especially Dallas and Cherry. Cherry's like his positivity and his communication's always high. And Dardes and his unique god pool, the unique attitude towards the game.
Well, you've been playing pro for a long time, and you've had countless teammates, a lot of good memories, maybe some not so good memories as well. But you more recently have gotten to join the Pro League. Last year, mostly on LAN. This year, supposed to be on LAN. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to. But what is something that most players that are out there playing Smite right now just wouldn't understand about being a professional Smite player?
It's a tough question, really. I think the jump from rank to SPL is mainly just like communication experience based. I think like you've got to have the right mindset to play SPL at the highest level, where you've got to kind of you obviously have the willingness to win. Everyone wants to win, but like just having the right thought process really going into the games and picking up on small mistakes, because small mistakes, they add up and then they can lead to a huge lead or a major swing in your favor. And communication is obviously huge. You can't really practice comms in ranked, but communication is massive in Smite, where you basically just got to say everything you see, and you got to kind of predict what your teammates are going to do, but also what the enemies are going to do. So, yeah.
So I've got one more question for you, and again, we've already maybe talked about making memories this year, but this is the big one, right? We're looking at the way this season has been going, or maybe just this year has been going. I just want to know, what's your goal in life right now, or your goal just in general for this year, whether it's Smite, whether it's something you want to accomplish? What do you kind of have your sights set on right now?
Well, my goal was to just try and like live better and like learn more life skills, go to the gym and stuff. But with COVID, that's been a bit tough, really. But I think like my main goal this year is just to prove to myself I can perform at the highest level I can, and hopefully make it to a Worlds Finals with this great team I'm on, and hopefully take it.
Oh, hey, man, we'd love to see it. I'm sure everybody out there, at least Radiance fans for sure, are rooting for you to make it there as well. But thanks for sitting around with me and, talking about all this stuff. It's always great to get to know you guys. I'm sure the fans think the same way. So once again, thank you, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thank you very much. See you.